There are no such things as limits or obstacles, only opportunities. Step into the greatest version of yourself because what you do matters. Shift your narrative. You're listening to Opportunity Makers, where entrepreneurs come to take their purpose-driven business to the next level. Here's your host, Jim Padilla.
Hello and welcome back. So glad to have you here. And I'm really excited for today's conversation, for you to be able to dive in and absorb and witness the conversation because I'm so focused on you winning. And as you know, we're always talking about exponential things here and you taking big steps towards big outcomes, because quite honestly, it's just so much more achievable than it has ever been. And we recognize that when you think about taking small steps or having incremental growth, you make decisions differently than when you're looking for bigger exponential outcomes, because you literally won't even make the same kind of decisions. You won't take the same kind of opportunities. You won't even think about the same way when you're selling, when you're serving, and when you're moving through the marketplace and in your business. And so we always want you to be looking at what is possible, because there's no difference between you and the people who are earning millions, except the way that they move through the world, the way that we move through the decisions that we make, the actions that we take, the offers we make, the people that we surround ourselves with, et cetera. It's because we know where we're going and we're not tolerating anything but. Okay. So I want you to be able to embrace that, embrace the perspective that you actually deserve more, that you know there's something else out there for you. I don't want you to be at a place where you set smaller goals and actually achieve them and still ended up short of where you want it to be. Instead of setting quality, bigger goals, striving for something powerful, even if you don't achieve it, you still land farther than you would have been making the smaller goals, because it's comfortable and safe. And when you're in an environment where you're thinking big and moving big, you want to be around people who can support that, who can embrace it, who can encourage you along the path to that journey. And so it's important the people that you choose as colleagues, as mentors, as just people that you're following. There's many people that I follow that I've patterned myself after who don't even know that I exist, but I've chosen them as a bit of a mentor, as a role model, as a pace setter. And so you want to be thinking that through. And Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon is an award-winning Inc. 5000 CEO 2 times, right, of Incredible One Enterprises, LLC, a business transformation company. She's best known for helping her 6-figure clients become CEOs who make, move, and leave millions. She's best known for, I just said that, in her new book, Move to Millions, which you're going to have some access to here in the show notes, right? And in many other ways, the proven framework to become the $1 million CEO. She shares her life and her business transformation, Move to Millions method with the world. And you're going to want to take notes, pay attention. There's a lot of good knowledge coming out of this, a lot of good insights, and just some good energy. You're going to be around some good, godly people who care about you, who know how to win in business and want to set the path and help you win and help you become the thing that you want to be, the person you've been called to be, and be able to play the game the way that you want to, instead of playing by other people's rules, right? Whole different way to do business. And I want you to be thinking about that. Really enjoy this episode. Make sure that you like, rate, review, and subscribe. Pick one. Don't do them all. Just pick one. Give me a like, right? Or rate and review and subscribe this thing. Give me some action so that you can get some love. Let me know what you're looking for. Check us out in the show notes. Anything that we can do to help you provide service and value to you. I want to know what you're feeling and thinking about this episode. And if there's anything specific that you want help with, that we can bring different experts to you and or do some trainings on for you so that you get what you need when you show up here to listen to the Sales Team Ready podcast. All right, enjoy the episode. We'll see you on the next one. Welcome, everybody. You're in for a great treat. You have a true master of business and of servant, somebody who cares about you and the message and the way you live your life and the way you run your business so that it serves and supports ideally so that you can scale well and do good. And I've been wanting to have this conversation with Dr. Darnyelle for some time, ever since we've crossed paths, because I really respect who she is and how she does what she does. And so I'm just really happy to share with you. So why don't you just briefly, just a quick jaunt through, how you got here. Like, how is Dr. Darnyelle become a thing?
Yeah. So first, my mom and my dad, no, we won't go back that far. So hello, everyone. I am Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon. I am excited to be here. Professionally, probably like many of you, my career started in corporate America. One day I woke up, I had a knot in the pit of my stomach that became a lump in my throat by the time I walked into my boss's office and quit my good job. I was making six figures a year in a financial services company as a vice president, but I literally realized that I was no longer meant to sit behind someone else's desk. And so I quit. I was willing to step out on faith and trust my gifts and talents to see if I had what it took to be an entrepreneur. My first entree into entrepreneurship was through Mary Kay Cosmetics. You may have used the product. You may have seen the pink Cadillacs driving around. I used to have one of those pink Cadillacs. In fact, I earned two in my tenure with the company. In late September of 2007, I decided that that wasn't what God had for me anymore. And so I decided to send my pink Cadillac back to the company. And I started the business that is today, Incredible One Enterprises. But before we were who we are today, a Twice Inc. 5000 company, we were bankrupt. We were trying to figure out what we were supposed to do with ourselves. We were looking for a job. And so I always like to share my whole story because I don't want people to think that I just woke up like this and I figured it out from the beginning. No, I experienced lack of clarity, lack of confusion, too many mixed messages, not the right message, trying to put too many products into the marketplace, not knowing how to close sales effectively. And all of that impacted our early success. By 2011, I was clear, I was confident, and I was on a mission to create a company that would serve entrepreneurs and small business owners in a way that they had never been served by in the marketplace. And within 3 years, we crossed the $1 million mark. And today I run a business transformation company, Incredible One Enterprises. We work with six-figure service-based entrepreneurs, and we help them to become CEOs who make, move, and leave millions. I believe that entrepreneurship is the vehicle that God created for us to experience wealth. And I believe that if you did not come from millions, millions ought to come from you. And your business is the vehicle that can make that happen. So with my amazing team, we serve entrepreneurs and we get them over the $1 million mark in a way that allows them to not only scale and sustain it, but to build a business that serves them both financially and spiritually. And I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff right there. So let's unpack that. I would love to, as you come through this journey of lessons, we call them blessings and lessons, right? Every time there's something great, and anytime there's a struggle, there's usually something great on the other side of it. And there's not too many things you're going to earn that deliver well that don't come with some sort of lesson before you reach it. And so what were the biggest takeaways as you went through the struggles of failing and not having and things falling apart? What were the biggest struggles and what lessons did you pull from those?
Yeah, so I think the biggest struggles in the beginning it was tied to my belief in myself and if I could actually earn money. It's one thing to go and get a job and to get a paycheck. 9 times out of 10, the company that you work for is determining what you earn. If you are bold and courageous enough to negotiate your salary, then you probably have some say. Otherwise, you're just kind of taking what you can get. Well, in entrepreneurship, you're the one who's calling the shots and determining what you earn. And so in the very early years, there was a healthy amount of nervousness and questioning whether or not what I wanted to offer to the marketplace was actually going to be desirable. And if I could actually charge what I needed to charge in order to have the kind of lifestyle I wanted to have. And so in the early years, we floundered. I didn't charge enough. And it's part of the reason why we ended up filing bankruptcy. In addition to that was understanding the significance and the role that your messaging plays and your ability to not only charge top dollar, but to attract the client that is going to be willing to invest in themselves at that level. And so how we've taken some of these lessons that we've learned and turn them into opportunities to continue to grow and develop is through what I call today our Move to Millions method. That's our proven framework that I've used to scale and sustain $1 million company. And it has helped us to help 42 others in the last few years do the same exact thing. And so that framework has 5 pillars: strategy. Of course, included in strategy is who do you serve, the problem that you solve, what is the package, and how are you going to package the solution together? How are you going to price it? How are you going to position it? And how will you promote it so that ultimately you get to profit from it? The second pillar is sales. And I know this is your world all day long and twice on Sunday, Jim. How are you going to sell in a way that allows your client to self-select to the selling process versus you having to go out there and feel like many of us feel in entrepreneurship, that icky used car salesperson. The third pillar is systems. How do you erect the right software and operating procedures to be able to make your success both replicatable and duplicatable? Because that is how you scale. People think that scaling is about speed, but it's actually about your ability to replicate and duplicate. The fourth pillar is support. Who's going to help you? Because you cannot do it by yourself, contrary to the beliefs of all of these alleged self-made millionaires that are out there. You are going to need a team, because there's many moving parts to having $1 million company. So who will you have? And then running through strategy, sales systems, and support is the right success mindset. Understanding the significance of your own personal power of belief, your self-awareness, your leadership, your abundance mindset, your money mindset, and your ability to look at some of the softer things, Jim, surrender, alignment, and obedience and forgiveness, and the role that they play in growing your business.
Amen to all of that. So strategy, sales, systems, support, and success mindset. I'm guessing, but I would love to hear your perspective. What's the area that people which one of those pieces, those pillars, do people struggle with the most?
Success mindset, hands down, all day. Like, here's what I want everybody who's listening right now to know. The strategies, they all work. Every single one of them. Every business model you're thinking about and considering, it will work. They all work. It's not the strategy. It's, I call it the softer side of entrepreneurship, but it's also the harder side of entrepreneurship. It's believing that whichever strategy and business model you have selected to be your way to build your business, that you actually can pull it off. It's believing that you are worthy and you deserve to have it. Most of us, regardless of how you got here, where you came from, who your family is, we all struggle with some form of challenge in our relationship with money. Those of us who came from money, we feel entitled and that we don't have to do any work for it, which that's a lie. Those of us who didn't come from it think we have to overwork for it. Guess what? That's a lie too. The way that we experience the wealth and money flowing inconsistently is through alignment. Alignment is going to be encompassing of detaching from the outcome or surrender. You can set the goal to make millions, and if you hold that goal like you ball this fist, it may never happen, because you're going to exist in striving energy instead of allowing energy. So there has to be an element of surrender or detachment. You're going to need to understand the significance of obedience. Obedience to the power that is higher than you, but also obedience to the strategy. Because if you decide that you're using one business model to get to the $1 million mark, but then you get bright, shiny object syndrome and deviate to another, it will impact your ability to get there when you say you want to be there. Forgiveness. There's a lot that has the potential to go wrong when you're interacting with people. People are human, which means that they make mistakes. Some of them on purpose, some of them without even realizing it. And none of them are designed to keep you from what it is that you want, which is why you have to release and forgive, right? To go biblical, for those of you who are believers and follow the word, I always love to tell the story from Mark chapter 11, starting around verse 20. Jesus and the disciples were walking from one city to the next. Jesus got hungry. He saw the fig tree. He decided he wanted a fig Newton. He stopped to get a fig. The tree did not give him a fig. He got mad and he cursed the tree. There's so much power in the words that you speak. The next day, he and the disciples are walking back, and the disciples cannot believe that the fig tree has curled up and died. Jesus sees it as a powerful moment to teach them a story. And he starts the text saying, you can say to any mountain, move, and it will move if you do these things. If you believe, you don't doubt, you speak, and you forgive. So if you believe that you can make millions, you don't doubt the possibility of you making millions, you speak over yourself that you're going to make millions, and you forgive anybody who's done anything to you that has the potential to keep you from getting your millions, you can walk into millions. But people don't want to hear that, Jim. They want another strategy. They want to figure out how to make challenges work for them, or how to do webinars, or how to do live events. They all work, and they will all work. When you believe, you don't doubt, you speak what you want, and you forgive.
Completely. And people don't, you have to understand this, guys. This is all real. Whatever altar you worship at, just you have to be able to have currency move through you. You have to allow the Spirit to move through you. You can't just whenever there's blockages, there's things that are going to lead to a challenge. And forgiveness is one of the greatest areas of release and the release mechanism that I know of the best. It's the whole, whatever you hold on to is what you're going to harbor and what's going to be in your way. And you have to make sure that you're surrendering and submitting. Because this is something that I consistently focus on. I'm always trying to do everything in my own strength, in my own power, instead of going, okay, that's right, God can do this better than me. And if I can allow God to move me or move through me, then things start really happening. But I want to make sure that you guys are really tapping into this and understanding. We used to have I didn't used to have a friend. I had a friend that I know well, but I haven't seen him in a long time, named Hans, and he had back issue, and he was a young guy. He was in his 20s, and he had back issue. So he was basically struggling with back pain every single day. And I didn't know this until after I knew him for like a year, because he just got so good at suppressing it and carrying it around. And we were at dinner one night, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm in thriving pain right now. I've just learned how to manage it and live with it." But he's like, my whole body is in traction right now, and I'm just suppressing it so I can be here with you guys at dinner. And I thought, that's just what an incredible way to have to live life. And he's literally spending like 50% of his personal energy and resources focusing on don't show the pain, suppress the pain, instead of being totally present with us and where we are. And so he's only being half the man that he could be, literally. Yeah. And too many times that's where we are when we're focused on trying to harbor resentment or frustration, even if it's for ourselves. Like, I don't deserve this, or I'm angry because I did this wrong, or I'm angry because this person screwed me over. Well, you're literally using half of your resources to suppress something instead of just allowing it to go, turning it over, and start leaning into what is possible. Because you can't do this with half of you. You need all of you and a network and God and
that was such a great analogy and a good visual for people to understand the significance of it. And the cool thing that I really just want to point out here, like, this is not just for people who are believers or have a faith center. It's a universal principle. If you want to experience all of the abundance that your hand, your heart, and your bank account can hold, you need these principles operating in your life experience. And I think it's important to say that, because I don't want anyone listening to us, both of us, very clear on who we are, whose we are, and who we serve, and think that we're not talking to them. So it's universal. So I just want to be clear that, if you have a desire, and you must, if you're listening to or watching this podcast, you have a desire to succeed, whatever that looks like for you. The way that you do that is by not just looking at your strategy, making sure you're getting sales, creating the right systems, and have the right support, but also make sure that you're integrating a success mindset in everything that it is that you're doing, and leveraging those principles that are probably not the fun ones, but they are very important as a part of the process to get you to where it is that you desire to be inside of your life and in your business.
Very well said. I love the statement you said. Your quote was, "If you don't come from millions, millions should come from you." I love that. And I'm already, and people in our world, I tend to think grand, exponential. So they're used to that from me. And we just know the statistics don't bear out that everybody lives that way. No. So how does somebody right now listening to that say, yeah, sure, that's okay for you, but I don't know about me?
Yeah. So my thought is this. First and foremost, I believe that abundance is every single one of our birthrights. I think that we are supposed to be here to experience the fullness of a life experience here on earth, right? And so if you have a belief that is contrary to that, I would ask you to question where that belief comes from. I think that by tracing the root, you can identify where you may have been taught or you caught something that is actually not your own belief in your original creation. It's just one that you're perpetuating. And if that is in fact the case, I want to offer you the opportunity to look at a way to reframe it. Because I don't think anyone wakes up any day, even the person who is homeless, doesn't wake up every day and say, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm homeless. I'm so glad I don't have." I think everyone innately wakes up with a desire to experience more. And you fill in the blank of what the more is for you. So if you are an entrepreneur, a small business owner, that more might be more clients that you get to serve. It might be more money in your bank account. It might be more traveling experiences. You decide what more looks like. But I think innately, we were created and programmed to seek out more, to seek out abundance. And so I believe that if we were created to do that, there's also a provision that has been made for us to experience it. So inside of your business, because we're talking to business people, what might that look like? Here's what I know. You don't need a website. You don't need a branding. You don't need the right topography and logo to make money. You need a problem that you solve, someone who has the problem, and a way to get in touch with them to tell them that you can solve the problem. So in today's day and age, that looks like a cell phone, a list of people to call, and what you're going to say to them when they pick up the phone. That's all you need to make money and to change your situation. And if you would stop being bogged down by all the things, and don't get me wrong, the things are great, but they are not necessary to have more come into your business. Right. Anytime I had a really great launch, Jim, it was the least common denominator. I did a launch a couple of years ago. I actually repeated it a few weeks ago, but a couple of years ago, I had this course that I wanted to create. And I believe in getting paid to do my work. And so I said, I'm going to find, 10 people who will be willing to be in this beta with me so I could get my course created. And I set the beta price at $3,500. And I said, I wanted 10 people to do it. I ended up with 30 people signing up, over 6 figures from something I needed to do anyway. Well, I did the same thing again a few weeks ago. For another course I want to create, got some people to pay me $30,000, I think we did for this one, to do it, generated $75,000 to do something I was going to do anyway. And you know what I did? I picked up the phone and I called people, or I sent text messages. There was no sales page. There was none of the things. It was a way for them to pay, and a conversation that transpired either in text message or over the phone that generated $75,000. So what I would say to you, if you are thinking, yeah, that sounds good for you, but it doesn't work for me, I would encourage you to try it before you deny it and see if it could work for you. And that's just very simple. And that's regardless, right? I think about 5 years ago when we were building our home, all of the options that we wanted, the deposit was $50,000. And so rather than take the money out of the savings account, I decided to create it, and I generated $50,000 in 3 days. So once we understand that we were created to experience abundance, and we decide that we are worthy and deserve to experience abundance, we start operating and vibrating and acting at a level that is higher than the level that we may have been on previously. And that is what allows for the current, the abundance, the money to flow into our direction. It is merely about getting into alignment. I tell people all the time, if you believe that you have to work hard in order to make money, that means you can't make money unless you work hard. But financial success is not about hard work. It's about alignment of thought. And so what can you do to get in alignment with the belief that you are already abundance, and abundance is waiting to flow to you right now so that it can actually flow?
That is real talk. And, you guys don't think about this as, oh, this is just some woo-woo mindset or perspective, because there's science and logic behind this too, right? There's a reason that I actually was just, we're doing a workshop on mining for gold. So we're literally showing people, where's all the gold around you that you're just walking by every single day, because everybody is leaving money on the table. But the first step is believing that it's there. And if you have some exponential, if your goal is to just increase by 10%, you're going to solve problems in a very different way than if your goal is to 10x your business, right? You're going to be thinking different. You're going to be looking different. And it usually starts with a plan and then a strategy to achieve that plan. And the average person is never going to see $1 million, but people in our world see $1 million frequently because they plan for it. And then they implement a strategy to achieve it. So the likelihood is that they will almost guarantee to do it. Yeah. Right. Versus somebody who just doesn't believe that it can happen and they go through the motions. So it's when you create a plan and a strategy and aligned strategy towards that, then the key is it keeps you in moving towards it instead of doing other things that move away from it. So it's not that complicated. And it is a reality. But here, the one piece that I would love your perspective on this. something that I ask, one of the questions I'll be asking in the workshop is, what does the 99% look like in your world? And what I mean by that is, people say, oh, 1% of people make millions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means 99% don't. That's because most people don't have a goal or a plan to do it. But in our world, 99% of people do get there because they do have that. So what's the 99% in your world that when people are in your world, the regular statistics don't matter? Only the reality of your world matters.
Yeah.
What's your take?
So before I answer that question, I want to slide back to what you just said a moment ago about the importance of the plan. And I 100% agree. And so I look at the continuum this way. For the first thing that you have to do is you have to prepare. And typically the preparation is mental, right? Then you can plan, then you position. So you make sure everything is lined up, and then you can take the action, right? So you can process, you can proceed, which will lead you to the profit. So I like P's. So that's to add to that. So the 99% in my world looks like every one of our clients. So we typically work with 100 to 200 small business owners and entrepreneurs that are at the six-figure level every single year. And 99% of them are growing their businesses by at least 50%. Anywhere from 50% to 200% on average. We have the anomalies that are 600 to 2,000% growth inside of a year. They are operationalizing their businesses. They're truly becoming CEOs and not just on their business card. Because that's what we put on our business card, but we're not EOing anything. Right? So they're truly becoming CEOs by putting together a team and building out an operational infrastructure that's going to support their business so that they can go from spending 80% of their time inside of their business to 80% of their time on their business, and 20% of or less of their time actually in their business performing the service. They truly become the leader that is leading the people that are serving the clients. Additionally, 99% of our clients they're breaking their own belief barriers as to how they can collapse time and make more money. It used to be a big deal to be able to make $100,000 in a year. Well, we get our clients to the point where they're making it in a month, some in a week, and some in a day. We've even had clients like the last 2 weeks, I've been with clients in Atlanta who made $100,000 in hours. So we teach them how to collapse time so that they can get to the milestone much faster without actually working harder, but instead operationalizing, streamlining, and creating the right alignment inside of themselves and their team. And so that's what we see for 99%.
Amen. I love that. What would you say, as we're getting to wrap up here shortly, with that perspective? I don't believe that we actually earn the money. I believe that we do the things, and we all have the same amount of time, but it's the level of time that we move through, how we collapse time frames, is what generates an outcome. That outcome is usually in the form of money. Right. So we're not targeting the money, we're targeting the impact, the outcome, the activities, and people who learn how to move through time more effectively, more leveraged, more impactfully, earn more for that time.
Correct. And I agree with you. We don't earn because we don't have to earn. We're already created worthy, right? Earning stipulates that there's a question about whether or not there is a value for who we are. So it's not about us, it's for the product or the service, right? I always say, your work has a price, but you're invaluable. We're priceless. You can't afford us because of who we are and who we were created to be. But the things that we do have a price point associated with them. And we want to make sure that we do that. So, yep, I agree.
So this is your whole brand. Everything you are here, you're elegant, you're wealthy, healthy, wise, all of those good things. And of course, being on brand, you have had a great book that is in the process of being ready to be launched. By the time you hear this, it is in flow. Well, this will be, you're in the middle of your launch. Move to Millions. Talk about that, and how can people get access to it?
Yeah, Move to Millions is the book I was born to write. It is part memoir and part methodology. It is the proven framework that we have used. I've detailed high level for you guys the Move to Millions method that we and 42 of our clients over the last few years have used to scale and sustain companies to and beyond the $1 million mark. When I say it's the book I was born to write, I say that because integrated in the methodology is what I have experienced on my own trajectory to becoming a multimillionaire. So I'm not just a million or multi-million dollar CEO. I'm also a multimillionaire. I am building generational wealth and changing and shifting the generations of my family because of what it is that I do today. And for me, it's important that I say that for two reasons. Number one, because I don't do theory. Everything that I present to you in the book is proven to work. So I know that it will work for you too. And number two, I think that more of us who have accomplished something that is desired by the masses needs to be more vocal about not only sharing that we've done it, but also give us a blueprint or a roadmap on how to be able to do it too. So inside of the pages of Move to Millions, you will literally learn exactly how to leverage the Move to Millions method. And just like I shared during this interview, whichever business model you want to use is fine. Once you determine your business model, you still need the right strategy, the right sales infrastructure, the right systems, the right support, and the right success mindset. So it's agnostic to business model, which makes it really powerful. We can do this in the government. We can do it in corporations. We can do it in nonprofit. The Move to Millions method is the method to understand in order to be able to create what it is that you desire with grace and ease instead of hustle and grind. Throughout the book, you'll hear or you'll read my powerful story and some of the experiences and obstacles that I've overcome on my journey to this point in my life. And it's also filled with client case studies because I'm not the only one. I'm one of many who have leveraged this process in order to experience the result that we know is capable. I'm excited about the book, and you can get it wherever you buy books, or you can go to movetomillionsbook.com.
Perfect. And if they do, or when they do, when you guys go get this book, what else do they get with it? I know you are about creating change and creating a movement. What do people get to participate?
Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly when this episode is going to run, but if you get your copy of the book prior to November the 1st, then there are a myriad of bonuses. Included in them are a private podcast of me reading the entire book right now with all of my extra commentary and thoughts that I want to be able to say, because when I do the book as an Audible, I won't be able to add all the extras in. So I wanted to create my own version of it. And then regardless of when you buy the book, you're going to get our Move to Millions action plan and resource guide that literally takes every single chapter in the book. Everything that I suggest that you do, there's a resource guide that will accompany the book that you can leverage in order to actually implement. Move to Millions. The MOVE is an acronym that stands for Mastery, Operational Obedience, Vision, and Execution. I'm heavy on the execution piece, which is why we've created this powerful resource guide. And then on Tuesday, November the 14th, I'm hosting a virtual launch party. Your attendance is by buying one copy of the book. So you're going to be able to come to an end of year training with me where I'm going to help you to actually create your Move to Millions roadmap of how you're going to get to the $1 million mark in 2024, if that is your goal.
Amen. If you had to sum it up in one sentence, what is the number one takeaway? Why do people want this book?
You want this book if you've been thinking about, dreaming about, and even attempting to make the Move to Millions, but it's continued to elude you. I'm going to literally hand you a proven blueprint that you can follow step by step that will get you there in the time that is best for your highest good.
Awesome. So pretty direct, pretty clear. You know you need it. And if you've been thinking about it and you're just struggling, I did a training just last week when I was asking people who's been trying to get the 7 figures for a while, so much that they've given up on it, and half the room raised their hand and the other people were just lying. So we want to make sure that you have as much support and the right support. And I wouldn't bring Dr. Darnyelle to you if I didn't believe I've seen this woman in action. She's wisdom is there. She's smart, strategic. She's the real deal. She's done it and she cares. I don't know what more combination of things you need in place for make a great decision. All it is a book. You're not asking for anything more at this moment. Buy the book and then you determine what's the next step in the journey with her. But I highly recommend that you take the book and be part of this launch party so that you can get as much of this as possible and start seeing that this can really happen for you.
Absolutely. And I just want to also just add, Jim, like even if 7 figures is not your milestone, but you feel stuck where you are, you likely can leverage and not even likely, you absolutely can leverage what's inside the book to get to whatever your milestone is, right? We have some clients who come to work with us. They don't want to hit 7 figures. They just want a good, solid $500,000 company that they can rinse and repeat year after year after year. Well, the principles apply no matter where you are or where you're desiring to go. We also have clients who have done 2 to 3 million that want to get to 10. The process, it works no matter where it is that you desire to go. So just like you probably have books like How to Win Friends and Influence People and The Big Leap and Profit First in your professional library, you want a copy of Move to Millions to be there as well.
Amen. And it's a great place to wrap up on. So I thank you for being here for this conversation. As always, we know you could literally be any place else on the planet and you choose to be here, and we don't take that for granted. Thanks for trusting us to be part of your success team. And we want to make sure that we deliver on that trust. And so take action on this. Make sure that you go and get into Dr. Darnyelle's world, tell her we said hello, and see what happens for you. It costs you nothing to take those steps. It could cost you everything not to. So make sure that you do, and know that we're behind you. We want to help be the wind in your sails and make that all that success come true for you. So thank you for being here. We'll see you on the next episode.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Opportunity Makers. Head on over to gaintheedgenow.com to connect with Jim and his team. And remember, there's no such thing as limits or obstacles, only opportunities.